The future belongs to a different kind of person, with a different kind of mind. Artists, inventors, storytellers. You're listening to Toyphotocast. We are storytellers. Jesse Wilkins is a toy photographer and customizer from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His favorite movies include anything from the Monty Python series, Big Lebowski, The Royal Tenenbaums, or anything with John Hughes. His other favorite hobby is home improvement. His favorite food is beef jerky. His favorite book is any children's manual for any car. Thank you for listening to this episode of Toyphotocast with Desultory Toys, interviewed by Inspired by Andre. I hope you enjoy it and have a great day. Peace.
Three, two, one. Hello, everybody listening right now. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Toyphotocast, and just want to introduce the one and only Desultory Toys. What's up, man?
What's up, man? It's a pleasure to be invited.
It's a pleasure to have you and finally hear your voice and have a real conversation.
Yeah, we'll see if it's a pleasure at the end.
And if this connection lasts, right?
Yeah, right. It's the ultimate test. Is it still a pleasure at the end?
Yeah, I mean, it happens at work for me all the time with Zoom calls, man. Sometimes they break up, and we'll have like a company-wide Zoom call, and people just start dropping off the call. So it's a lovely thing in this new era that we are in.
Yeah.
So
technology-based everything.
Yeah. And as I was saying before, it's not even like we use our phones to actually call each other. We use our phones for the Zoom, for the Skype, for text messages and DMs. It's become very impersonal, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense because I'm a human being that likes to hear tone.
There you go.
Because things can be said and they can, without tone, you don't really know. Things can be construed one way or another. It leaves that there's a lot of there's vague things. And for me, I'm not a fan of that. Like I'm the type of person that most things, if I can sit down with you in person, I would prefer to do that even over a phone because I'd like to see your face when I talk. I have weird hang-ups like that where like tone is very important to me, but I don't have the option
No,
anymore.
I completely agree. I'm pretty much the same way, and it's nice to hear. I mean, especially if you're a fan of music, you appreciate and what that brings. And same thing we're meant to we are designed to communicate and share life together, and that's when we notice tones and differences. So it's one of the things I love about being on this podcast is having the ability to hear the voice of the artist and have that opportunity to let them be heard and just tell our stories,
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of bring up, speaking of story, this wasn't your name before. You used to be Fried Fish Halibut? Was that what it was?
I've been like four things over the course of my however long I've been. It was Fried Fish. Fried Fish Halibut is probably the longest lived.
Okay.
And it just when I decided to start making stuff, Fried Fish Halibut changed to Desultory Toys because it just made more sense to. And desultory is a word that I hold pretty near and dear to my heart. So it's one of those things where I was at a turning point and I was kind of either going to quit or push into something else, and I decided to push into something else. And I thought a name change felt like a rebirth.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of like a cast off. Not that I it bothered anybody or anything. It was just one of those things where I wanted to do it. I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of change. Plus, it looks cool when you order stuff and it says Desultory Toys on your. You know what I mean? Like it's nice when stuff gets delivered to your house and it says Desultory Toys on it. Makes you feel like yeah, huh? Okay. It's got my
My
name
name
on
or something. It's gonna be my handle on everything.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's and then Desultory Toys kind of became that for me. Now it's
That's
like
cool, man.
everything
That's
gets shipped to that. Everything gets it's a thing.
well, that's cool too because it's a nice reminder when you receive that thing, you see it staring at your face that that's where your hard work's going into.
Absolutely. The biggest thing was Alicia, my wife, surprised me for Christmas with a neon light that says Desultory Toys, and
Yes,
that's like the most. That's when I see you. It's like literally my name in lights.
it's so
Like,
cool, man.
yeah. So it's like you look up at it and you're like, hey, my name's in lights. It doesn't even matter if anybody else cares. It's here I am. I'm doing what I'm doing, and my name's in lights. Where's this good?
You know, no matter what happens, where you go, you got a legit neon lights with your name
Yeah.
on
Yep. You guys. There it is. You ever seen your name in lights? I have.
it. You do. So
Just
I
in my
want
but
to ask you, man, how long have you actually been doing toy photography itself? Because I've seen your page, the
toy
true
photography.
stuff, but toy photography itself, how long have you been doing it?
I'm gonna say 5 years. I'm gonna say 5 years, roughly. I'd have to actually look at Instagram to maybe longer. Maybe oh man, is it 2013? Maybe like
Oh,
8 years. Good God, there's a huge discrepancy there. But I'm not. I honestly, it's been so long, and I've gone in and out of so many permutations. It's somewhere between 5 and 8 years. That's the honest truth at this moment.
that's been a while. That's a lot. I mean, I probably in the same boat. I forget what I did last week, but I got to take notes. And I mean, to know you've been doing it 5 years, that's quite the accomplishment, man. Because you've seen a lot before I
I've seen it change.
started acting. You know?
Yeah, I've seen it change a lot. That's for sure. It's been it became an industry. I watched it become an industry in a way. Uh,
Wow.
it started off as very much a small and I wasn't like the in crowd like even there's always an in crowd. That's just the way things are. And when I first started, it was I've collected toys my whole life. Like when everybody in their teenage years casts away their toys and says "Oh, I'm done with that. I didn't. I kept everything, and I in my room was always I always had toys. It was just a thing that it's a comfort level for me. It's a
Yeah.
thing that I find it's peace. My toys are a place to go when it feels like no one else understands. When it feels like you go down there and you look at your stuff and I was looking around. I'm very not anti technology. Me and technology don't get along so much.
Okay.
Like I don't hate on it. Like I'm not saying oh technology's bad. Blah. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just I don't like if there's one guy at the supermarket and he's punching the self checkout. That's me. Like the self checkout decides all of a sudden to just start like not working, not like that's me. It just happens. I don't know if it's like my electromagnetic field. I don't know what it is, but me and technology have never really gotten along. So like I've never been on Facebook. I don't even know what it looks like, to be perfectly honest.
you
Um,
I've got my own reservations with Facebook, so you ain't alone there. But aside from that, like I work with a lot of calibration technicians and guys that were engineers, and yeah, I literally live and see, they have to use a computer to, obviously log their time for the day and process paperwork, but I mean they're not computer people. Only like two of them out of the six are, and so
right.
yeah, it's a lot of head button and
Yeah,
slam.
engineers are hands-on people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is I'm a person that likes to be able to touch, feel, hold, manipulate, and computers don't let you do that. They do. My brother does 3D modeling, which it's absolutely what it is. You're just doing it in a computer. But like it's just different. And I'm like the last generation before computers were necessary. Like, I didn't have to take I wasn't forced to take a computer class in high school. Like, I didn't have to. And now everyone, it's a, it's just part of the deal. Like, by the time I graduated high school, I didn't even really play. I think I played Doom. That was like
No,
the of
dude.
my computer technology of experience was Wolfenstein and Doom. So, I kind of got left behind on that, and then you get well, I stayed behind. I didn't get left behind. I chose and working on cars and being hands on and stuff like that. It never pushed me towards computers. But then Instagram is and toys is what got me on a computer and on the internet.
I
Because
know you're like, man, now I have to use a computer to make a pre-order. This is ridiculous.
it is nuts.
You mean
It's
I
nuts.
can't call somebody and make the order? I gotta actually do it.
It's crazy. Nowadays there's no Toys R Us anymore. There's no KB Toys anymore. There's not Target's always empty. Walmart's always a joke, like their toy aisle. So like if you don't use a computer, you can't buy toys.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's gotten, we've had conversations and I've had conversations with other people, especially in our Snake Eyes Saturday group, and we have a whole group for that. And Scott would know all this too. Obviously, we've all gone over with how pain in the butt it is to go into a store and actually look for these things
Hmm.
because they're gone if it's because of scalpers or horrible distribution. And
Same.
I will say, if there's somebody I've seen step it up, it's NECA. NECA
Yeah,
Toys really stepped it up, and I mean, you can go actually. And I know some people are still saying they don't see nothing. I've been there, trust
NECA's
me. And
stock at Target.
yeah, it's stepped up their game, especially at Walmart. So I'm really surprised what they did there. And it is one of those things where we are forced now to use electronic devices to enjoy the hobby. But yeah, you're right. I
Right.
mean, Instagram brings you to all that, and you discover this whole world and community dedicated to toy photography.
Yeah, they changed. That's where it all. Like, I was on my wife. She was like showing me things on Instagram, and like I was like, let me see. And I started poking through, and I saw pictures. I started as a Transformers guy. That's my first love is Transformers. I've collected Transformers since I was a kid. I still have. I don't photograph them very much, but I have a massive collection of Transformers. And that's where it all began. And I saw it started off as like people just posting pictures of their collection, and I didn't know anybody else personally, like in on a personal level that collected toys. I was the only one, and I wasn't, and it a couple, you go back a decade, and it wasn't. Nowadays, it's kind of cool to say, like, oh, a toy collection. Like, people are like, oh, that's neat. Or like back then, it was like if you tried to talk about your toy collection to people, you would the 40-year-old version was immediately that was the first thing that anyone. Oh, what are you, the 40-year-old version? That was the first thing whenever you said I toys anything 40-year-old version. First thing that would pop up, and then you'd have to deal with that, and then you'd have to deal with the computers didn't get it. They didn't understand. And I discovered Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, there's other people that are like me. I didn't know
You
that there were other people like me. I mean, I knew that at the toy spots I visited and stuff like that, like there were dealers, but I didn't have any real personal interaction outside the stores and stuff like that.
right,
So
right.
to see these photographs, really what it was, and to break it down to the simplest terms, is I got to play with my toys. I got to take my toys, and instead of just having them on a shelf and dusting them and appreciating them and transforming them, I got to play with them. I got to start making scenes with them, and it just blossomed from there, man. It's like something that I'll never fully give it up. Like, I might slow down, I might, put more attention on something else for a while. But I'll never give it up because I find such a real, genuine pleasure in it.
That's so
It's
good. And when you mentioned that you actually play with them, that's something that Dakota's mentioned a lot in his interviews, and it's so true. Like, you need to play with these toys, and as funny it may sound for us in the community and even people outside that are strangers to it, you can kind of look back, and have these conversations, and people are like, wait, you play with your toys? How old are you? It's like,
yes,
well, yeah, that's the only way I could create these these scenes that I see in my head that I've got this idea for, or this comic book I read, or this movie that I watched. And to
Yep.
get poses to create that atmosphere, you got to play with the toys first. Check the
That's it.
posing.
That's it.
Position.
That's it.
You got to identify what the quality control issues are in some of these
Yeah.
toy brands. But
And it pushes your appreciation of them to the next level because now you're not just holding it in your hand and now you're going, oh, all right, so well, Iron Man is Iron Man, so does this hit the Iron Man pose?
right,
Like,
right.
the knee down, fist down, like, can it hit? And then that starts to become a requirement. That starts to become, I think that toy photography and the like have pushed the toy so much further. It has pushed expectations so much further.
Oh,
Uh, it's symbiotic, like the photographer wants a better photo, so they want their toy to behave better. The manufacturer wants to sell the toy, so they push that further. And it's just been a nice, like, there's never been a better time to be a toy. Let's
yeah.
face it. Never been a better time to be a person that appreciates toys because the toys out there are just from sideshow down. It's just wild. Like,
Six.
what do you want that exists?
Yeah, the past 6 months, the industry just came out swinging. I mean, we're seeing these things drop that we've seen amazing stuff drop in the last couple years, but I felt like, man, the towards the fall of last year, with Mandalorian releases of different things for that whole line, and for different manufacturers going into this year, and Hasbro dropping like tons of new stuff. And then you've got, Mezco never lets up. They've got a new release, even have their own, the Rumble Society underneath Mezco. Like, you're seeing, they're listening, they're watching, and they're
Yeah,
taking,
their
and
marketing. They got a good marketing guy.
they
They
do,
do,
and they
do for sure.
and they know they're following other artists. They see customizers out there, and they're like, well, we give them a baseline, or at least a platform, the foundation to work on. At the end of the day, they're like, we don't really care what you're going to do to the figure, because we know you appreciate the figure and you customize it. That's further appreciation of what we made. It's no different than an automotive manufacturer making a car the way it is, but being a tuner or a modifier or a customizer, you take that car home and you have fun with it, and you still
Yep,
appreciate what it is.
absolutely. And sometimes, not everybody, like, I don't know, if you're a couple years back, Ferrari sued Liberty Walk to give them a cease and desist. Told them they couldn't modify Ferraris, even though, I mean, it just happened to Little Nas X with the
Yep.
shoes.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to tell me that something I paid full retail price for, I'm not allowed to do something to? Something's weird there.
Yeah.
Something's
So,
weird there.
thing with Nike, because they actually came after that company, and specifically, it wasn't just because of what Lil Nas X had dropped. They
Yeah.
actually the Jesus shoe line they made too.
Yep.
So, and me even being a person of faith, I completely understood what Nike was doing from one end of the spectrum. They were
Right.
saying, hey, you've got millions of people thinking we co-signed on this when we didn't. But then I
Sure.
also understand the artist's perspective. It's like, wait, we bought the shoes. You're telling us we can't do what we want with the shoes we bought. So it
That's the thing is as much as I don't like, I'm not saying subjectively, like the subject matter, the actual shoe itself, the things that are around. I'm not saying that ideologically I agree, but I'm saying that in my opinion, you should be allowed to do that.
absolutely, absolutely, I agree. It does make you wonder as a consumer, is
What's
it
next?
really ours?
Hmm.
Because it's,
No,
man,
it's not. I mean, that's the thing is, home ownership in this country. Like, everybody says, oh, well, you should own a home. It's like, well, I own a home. Do you really though? Because let's say that home's paid off completely, and you decide that you don't want to pay taxes for a year. I'm pretty sure that they come and take it from
oh, don't forget about the HOA, man.
you. That's what I'm saying. Like ownership of things is such a loose, like it's all just sort of like, it's just cheaper rent. Because someone can come along at any moment and say, oh, by the way, eminent domain. You know what eminent domain is, where they're going to build a highway and you live in a house and the government just comes up and goes, well, we're going to buy your house from you. Well, no, you can't buy my house from me. I'm not moving. Yes, you are.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very
Happened
slippery
in
slope.
San Antonio. When I was growing up, and San Antonio did that in some areas, and especially the areas that are close to the military bases out there. But yeah, I think it's interesting that different companies and different industries do that, but I do like that in the toy industry, it seems like they have no squabbles with what we're doing with these
Yeah.
things. If anything, it seems like it's inspiring the toy makers to say, well, let's keep coming up with new toy lines, up
Hmm.
the level of articulation and details, because I mean, let's face it, a lot of us, I don't have the time and patience with my lifestyle right now to customize. I would love to if I had the time and patience and mindset, but I
Right.
don't. Buy it, take it out the package, and if I want to spray water at it, or use my humidifier or throw light, boom, it's good to go out the box. They're seeing what customizers are doing, and quite honestly, it looks like they're inspired, I want to say, by these customizers,
I
and
agree.
they're these toys. And I
I
mean,
agree.
I'm
Inspired's
not.
being very, very polite.
Yes, I'm not going to mention names or artists, but everyone in the community can say, "Hey, I've seen that before." You know what
Hmm.
I mean? And now we've got major toy manufacturers making these things look very reminiscent to a lot of these other stuff people customized. But I do believe it's inspiration because you'll see different iterations or styles to that, and that's the
Sure.
beauty of this art form, and that's what it should be. Kick that can of inspiration down the road and have it keep rolling on to the next person after that, and eventually it does pay it forward if you have the that civil mindset of understanding that we're supposed to be lifting each other up and not putting each other down, so to speak, which leads me to the next thing. If there's been any inspirations in the community to you, or and just toy photography in general, any photos that got you inspired,
Um,
push
I think
yourself, accounts that are people you may know.
I think, well, obviously you and Scott come to mind first. You and Scott Blind, just because I've never, like, I don't, there's nobody that I talk to like I talk to you guys. Like there's like I have other friends that I'm, very well acquainted with, but the way we discuss motivation, storytelling, things like that, that's where it starts. I think the person that stirred me to try to improve my toy photography, who was Sergeant Bananas. He was the first person I saw emotion. I felt like I saw emotion in the stuff that he was shooting, and that was like a big draw for me. Like that like the fact that these pieces of plastic, these toys could make you feel,
Yeah,
was an idea that I have tried really, really hard to embrace. Trying to make a, I understand, and I'll never knock anybody's style. Everybody does what they do, and if it makes them happy, and if it makes the people that want to see it happy, that's good. The stuff that I like is more driven towards character, driven towards storytelling.
sure.
I like layers. I want to take a few minutes to look slowly at what I'm looking at, not flick go, flick go, flick go. I think there's a lot of flash, which is, that's how it goes. You look at 90s comic books, it was all big muscles and flash, and it's what brought a lot of us to where we are now.
Yeah,
So there's a place for everything, but what I'm drawn to is the folks that do it more with a bent towards trying to get past just what's there, what's on the page.
absolutely.
There's a little depth, you got a little depth to it. Right now, Caddy Combs, really dig her stuff.
Oh, she's
Uh,
amazing.
oh God, she
Oh,
makes she makes
right, Amy.
yeah, she makes she makes like, there's just something. It's almost intangible. I couldn't describe it. There's a quality to certain toy photographs that transcend toy photography,
Yeah, yeah,
where you're not looking. It's not just a toy photograph anymore. It's become something else. It's Creative Chip just had there was R2 or C3PO, and there were like three guys with clocks for heads,
yes,
and that's one of those things that it blew my mind. Like, it literally, I saw this and it blew my mind because this was art to me.
absolutely.
this was something that there was no base interpretation of it. It's whatever you draw from.
Correct.
And so to look at that and to draw and to be able to put something on a page that someone it can draw that 10 people can draw 10 different conclusions from, that's just it's very impressive to me. It's something that it's something that like that's what transcends to me. That's something that pushes. That's what's pushing the medium to me.
So
Like
that,
Superman is cool, but
yeah,
thought-provoking stuff is next level.
it is. It is. That's kind of, and us as artists, that's what we do. I mean, as much as we have a moment and we're like, I just, I really want to get this shot dialed in because this is a story I want to tell. Sometimes when we're done, we didn't realize we told like three different stories in one shot. And then
Hmm.
that's the beauty of what we understand. Some of us may not even know what composition is, and we discover it by accident in photography and how we're setting up the scene. That,
Oh,
and it's kind of like, I've noticed that from myself, you, Scott, so many people, even Luis, who I interviewed last, I spoke to on the podcast, have helped me dial in things and change so much since I first started, because I would just focus on taking a picture of the figure, but trying to understand, dramatic light and tone,
hmm.
and then kind of would switch up from, you know, how do I get this to look real or feel like it's a screen still from a movie, which brings me to ask you, like, what what have you noticed about what changed for you and an improvement since you started doing it, and how has it given you new direction?
My God, man! If I could show you my first like the first year, 4 years of me taking like I don't come. I had no background in anything artistic previous to this. Like I was never a painter. I was never a person that drew. I was never, I didn't come from that place. I came from a family of you get a job, you work, you go home, you drink a couple beers, you go to work the next day. Like that was art was a waste of time. When I, I mean that anything that didn't service the economy and for lack of the art was you're never going to make any money, you're never going to, and what I never understood until recently is that it doesn't sometimes doesn't matter if you make any money. Just because something isn't monetized doesn't mean it doesn't have value. There's different types of value. um,
Exactly.
I think ultimately what it just brought me, so it's taught me so much, and it opened the door to taking photographs on the street, to lettering things on my own, making things on my own, starting to customize things and starting to generate ideas, like my own ideas out of my head. Like it just toy photography opened my imagination. It like cracked the can on my imagination and pour out. I think ultimately the biggest progress I've made has been understanding that lighting applies to everything. Like understanding where your light comes
Yeah.
from, what your light sources are, how they're going to affect your, and then I mean, until I started talking to you guys, like I never owned a color wheel. I bought a color wheel because of you guys, just so I could so I could just start to understand why. Like there's art to this, but there's science too.
Right.
There are things where color combinations, they look good together, they complement one another. So in
Hmm.
order to push the art, you have to understand the science.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
got to understand both complementary and contrast colors, and it's something that I personally had to dip into from my youth, for my childhood, actually through my youth, because I was a big artist. I used to draw, paint, and sketch, use mixed media, and
Yeah.
I went pretty nonstop all the way through college, and just came to a screeching halt in my young adult life. But
Yeah, but it
um,
happens to a lot of us.
lost. It was always inside me, and it did kind of come into the toy photography end of things. And you're right. I mean, it's you got to kind of study it if you don't know. And me, it
Yeah.
was my lifestyle. It all came natural to me because I'd been doing it for so long. But I had a natural passion for art since I was a child. I think I was in preschool when I first drew something. It was like a giant T-Rex on a chalkboard, and after that, like, art was always in my life, and music was another art form that was a heavy part of it. Rest in peace, DMX.
Man, what about
I just posted that picture I drew when I was 17 years old because I was deep into hip hop always. Even classical music and cultural stuff like salsa and merengue and some R&B, but hip hop was like my life source almost. And whenever I was drawing, man, and that DMX picture I drew for probably like 6 hours straight, working
cool?
on that graffiti art part of it, and the music was so essential to the art form, and I took that as well into toy photography, and I have music playing in the background when I'm doing my shots. But that music.
That's a must. Almost all my shots start with music. That's the crazy part.
Oh, it helps. It helps out a lot. But that's one thing as you're tapping into understanding the color wheel and what art is. You're using art too because your mood changes or your mindset may change for the theme, even depending on the music that you have on.
Big time, big time. It's a big influence in everything I photograph. It's a lot of my shots start as a song I'm listening to first, and that's what clicks my head and says you need to go take a picture.
So, and that
Like
kind of coincides with like what how you approach everything, right? And are you kind of person that's more interested in the process or the end result?
I think that it's the end result is what I'm looking for. Like that's what but the process, I'm a process oriented human being.
Sure.
Like the everything is about the process for me. That's just it sort of goes with my and I have a sensory disorder. So basically like when what it comes down, it's often misdiagnosed as bipolar. Uh,
Okay.
it, but what it is I am sensitive. I'm overly sensitive. That's kind of so like if a noise annoys you, it's probably driving me crazy. If a noise is pleasant to you, it's probably I'm in ecstasy. Like and I spent a long time not being able to reconcile that because I didn't know about myself and photography and art and things that once I opened that door, I started to discover that it was the first time that the way my over emotional self was actually a benefit.
Wow.
It was actually the first time in my life like where it wasn't everybody telling me, oh, we can't handle you. It was me using it to make things more intense, to try to push things a little bit more. It's a refuge for me. It's a place to go when the world is overwhelming. I can get in that little shelter and I can stay in there. And I think my son is unfortunately he's worse than I am, and it's been a struggle with him since day one. He's almost 3 years old. He's having a lot of difficulties talking, and there's a lot of it's just he's one of those kids where people probably are like, oh God, they're terrible parents, but they don't understand what he's going through. Like he literally like sometimes you gotta spend a couple hours like holding him, like squeezing him because it helps his sensations. He's cranked all the time. Like his emotions, his body, his feelings are just cranked up to 11 constantly. And
Wow.
it's we're working with, and that the therapist is in therapy, and it's been wonderful. They've been incredibly helpful, and he's definitely learning how to cope with it. But it's what taught me about me. It's what I've had me go back to the doctor and go, hey man, I'm learning about this sensory stuff, and I know you guys have me down as bipolar, and but I'm curious, and I started to work with it. You end up finding out that you're not bipolar. What you are is incredibly sensitive. Like they call it seasonal change. There's seasonal depression disorder. Like the fall is brutal to me. Like when it goes from warm to cold, it does something to me. I like spend like a month not being able to concentrate, and it's not anything other than my chemicals and everything. They just pump at a higher rate. My brain pushes more of that and less of that, and you have to learn how to deal with it because my whole life I've had problems with people. You know, I have trouble getting along with people. I am often misunderstood just because I have a way about me.
No,
And,
no, and I'm glad. I'm actually glad that you're explaining all this. It's important for everybody to know. Well, again, I take pride in this podcast, not just because we talk about toys in the toy community, but I take pride in what we do here about telling stories. The stories are important. I think
yeah,
people need to understand that we are multi-layered individuals. And one thing that if you follow my account and you see my posts, whether it's scripture, positive stuff, I'm big on love.
yep,
I've been for a long time, and I've even amped it up more so within the past year because we all need it. And it's
yeah,
important hearing stories like this because we don't know the other person. We don't know what they're going through. And I've said it like a gazillion times to people that I know at work, at church, or in my personal life, even the community, that mental health is a real thing. And people
yes,
got to understand that there's so many things that are happening because of it, and
hmm
I mean, we can get into a whole nother podcast stories about mental health, but it's important to know that in this community, we come in all shapes and sizes and colors, but also to understand that, we have feelings, man. We're human beings, man. We're real. We feel,
so we are.
our art is a representation of. And I see that in your work and the way you have such multi-depth, layered, just the amount of texture that I can see sometimes in your shots. It's amazing. It's really, truly amazing, especially when I can
Very
see.
nice. That's
I
very
mean,
nice.
dude, absolute. When I see the little twirly boys up in the shot, I'm like, man, he makes sure to have you can see every working pipe, inner working details of the car, even the details to the figure. But the fact that you pay attention to all those little details says a lot because a lot of us, we could be scrolling and it's really no disrespect to anybody in the community. Sometimes, we may see very similar shots because as human beings, we don't exactly have the most original thoughts sometimes. We,
Right. No, no, we all play on the same themes. That's
subconsciously we're
what we do.
subconsciously inspired everywhere. And
Absolutely.
it gets, sucked into our memory. We don't realize it. So all of a sudden one day we put it down into a photo or we draw, we write or sing or rap or create or build. And we're like, man, I think I've seen this before. I don't know where. And boom, someone else points it out to you. So we have those days where we're scrolling through the galleries and everyone else's galleries. Like, this is great. But we always come across that one shot. We're like, whoa, what is this? Let me pause everything real quick because somebody decided to make this happen or do this, or they went above and beyond. And
hmm
that's what happens, when I see a lot of shots, especially like yours. The fact that you had that ability to, man, like I said, you inspired me to step it up when I came back. I took like a on off 2 month break, 2 week break, and here and
You were
there.
missed.
I was I
I
was
missed you.
Thanks, man. I missed you guys too. I was just spent and burnt from different things in life. Like my new priorities turned into just loving people, praying for people, messaging people, just really spreading love. And it's been a big focal point for me. And another reason why I love this podcast because I like being able to just let people talk and hear people. I think it's all part of that compassion we have. But being coming back when I saw your shot, that something about that like Terminator style lighting. I just remember it looked straight out the 80s, but very crisp, almost like Real Steel kind of movie. I don't
Yeah,
know what it was, the atmosphere, the
crispy.
lighting you did. And it just also kind of, I mean, to be quite honest, took me back to street races I used to go to when I was a kid, man. And so I saw that shot. I'm like, man, this looks so real, so cinematic. I was taken back. I said,
A lot. Go ahead.
I just said I gotta go grab a Batman and shoot it because I just finished watching Snyder
That's
Cut.
the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
I'm
No,
gonna
the
make
fact
sure.
that the fact that you looked at it and was like, I need to go shoot. That makes me feel good. That's because that's all I'm trying. That's all. Like I'd rather, and I know like people say, but like I'd rather have five good friends, five good solid people that we feed off each other. We then 10,000 followers. Like even the term follow kind of bothers me. Don't follow me. Like you don't follow anybody. Blaze your own path. But you of course you're gonna. Everybody is gonna piece together their own path from other people's stuff. It's just how it goes. You're gonna see a detail here you like. You're gonna see a detail there you like. You're gonna be influenced. That's how life is. You
Right.
can't. No one miraculously, unless they have like synesthesia or something, where they taste color and stuff like that. Like you generally don't come up. It's all been said and done before. It's just not been done by you.
Right. That's
So
perfect.
so just do it.
Yep.
And don't be afraid, and don't like I'm not a and it's not and this is not and this is where when I talk about I'm often misunderstood is to make sure, and I have to make sure that I clarify, like I'm not knocking anyone. Like don't take it personally if you hear me say, don't do like I don't do that, or your taste is your taste, and if it makes you happy, then ultimately satisfying me doesn't matter. Does it
Amen.
make you happy? Then exactly. Like it doesn't matter if if it satisfies you, if it satisfies the thing that you needed to satisfy, that feeling that you needed to create, then it's good. Then it is happy and it is right. And it but I do not I am not a fan of imitation. Of being inspired, absolutely. Being inspired by something is something everyone has, but to look at something and go, I'm going to do that, I don't understand. Like
Yeah.
that's where I and in the beginning I get that that's sometimes what you have to do. You
So,
know,
and it's
when,
funny you bring that up. I experienced something very similar to that in my youth and through high school, even in college, as an artist. When I used to draw and I'd be in groups, we had assignments. I was always that guy that had to do most of the work. And I always would ask myself, what are you doing in art class then? But again, people just wanted to fill for credits. A lot of
Mhm.
these people didn't really want to be in the class. And it was one of those things where ever since, again, being, whether in my youth as a kid, my high school years or in college, even in college, I would see tracing. And
Mhm.
I remember having a really big issue with tracing. I would never understood it because that wasn't my lifestyle, my journey. And
Right.
unfortunately, I found myself judging people at a young age when I didn't realize that that's just their journey.
Yeah.
Because I've seen stories of people who start off tracing and now forget it. They can draw circles around me because I stopped drawing and I stopped pursuing that avenue years ago where they took it to the next level and now they could freehand anything and it's
Yep.
amazing. But it really is about having a baseline starting somewhere and it's whatever makes you happy. And I think however we inspire each other in the community, I I don't mind whatever the outcome is, as long as that person's actually happy and understands it. So when you just said someone going and copying something and not even understanding it, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is that it's if you're copying it just because you see that it got a result and you're looking for the result, well, you're not appreciating the process.
Yeah, the biggest problem is you are missing out on the biggest fundamental of what this hobby should represent, and that's joy. And if
Hmm.
you did not have any joy in creating that whole setup, that whole scene, that frame, and
Right.
all you did was copy somebody, you robbed yourself of that opportunity to grow.
And
And
you diluted the other idea.
yeah, that too, and you robbed yourself of the inspiration to feel what inspiration feels like. Some people struggle with inspiration because they don't know where to begin or where to start.
Hmm.
And when they finally feel it, it's almost like an awakening, like, oh my goodness. And that inspiration comes from anything. Like it's happened to me so many times. When, I got to a point, I was looking at Scott's gallery and him spraying water. I was like, man, I want to do that. That looks so fun. And the way he would make it look, I remember I used to message him. One of the first messages was lighting outside. He'd do a shot outside with the aerosol can, and he was using lighting. He was schooling me on that, and then I'd ask him about the spray. But I'm like, dude, what are you using to make the drops look like that? And he was like, dude, a water bottle with, and the way he had the hole in it just right. I think he said, and then it squirts out. It was just the right amount to where it made the unique size water drops. I was like, what? Are you for
Hmm.
real? Like there's like a science to it. And so I would keep watching the shots and then forget it. Unicorn David came on the
Yeah,
scene.
Jesus, does he blow them out?
I that's
They're bananas. The way he uses that water.
dude. I tell you, he's literally in my quest to get him on the show because I would love to have him talk about his process. But yeah, that guy, he has this special way of creating images with water that I haven't seen anywhere.
He's
Anywhere.
got a thing. He's got a thing. That's one of my
He's
biggest
got a
one of
thing.
my
So
biggest compliments.
you know who Hugh Hughes is?
No.
Hugh Hughes. Go check out his account. Especially for a guy like you, Jesse, who loves Transformers, yo, you gotta check his account out. This guy shoots some of the best. So I mean, he has like ridiculously epic Lego photos
Oh,
of
okay.
Legos, but his Transformer stuff
Okay.
is bananas, and he uses I want to say like a smoke or a fog machine, but the way he captures it, man, it looks so dramatic. Well, that's how I feel like David is with water. It's almost that
Yeah.
same epic, dramatic feel that he has with it, and like it always drives me crazy when I see Daniel do another shot because I'm like, man, how did you manage to do that? You know, I always think that's myself. But yeah, Unicorn Warrior is his name. If anybody
Got a
doesn't
thing.
know, Unicorn Warrior, UN number one, Corn Warrior. Check
Hey,
him
he
out.
said
You
corn
don't know
warrior.
what we're talking about water. This guy knows how to use water. But back to you, Jesse. Like the way you do lighting and use purple, that also kind of pushed me and inspired me. So again, it's one of those things where like if you're gonna look at somebody's work, don't rob yourself of the inspiration. Because
No,
Scott,
no, no, no.
if it wasn't for Scott and David, I would have never stepped up and started using water
Right.
because the way they inspired me. I said, okay, you know what? These guys, they're making their own style. They're trying it out. What do I have to lose? I'm gonna wet my toys. Which is funny because I'll get messages, like a lot of people, especially my Mexicos, are like, oh my gosh. And they're like they had like the emoji like cringing teeth or whatever, like, you wet your
Right.
Mezcos? How do they do? I'm like,
Oh,
perfectly
stop.
fine. I dump water on them things, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, those people need to not ever come see my collection because they would be unhappy. I always tell people I'm not really a toy collector. Like I don't like it's I'm in it. I'm like a toy mechanic. Like they're all, you know what I mean? Like it's not like nothing's pristine, nothing's sacred, nothing's, of course there's stuff that like it went up in value to the point where I'm not gonna fuck with it. Like just in case something ever, I lost my job a couple of years back and toys got me over the rough spot because I had built up enough of a collection that it was like, okay, well you can get rid of some of the stuff and get you over this month,
Yeah.
till things got, square again. And so I don't, I'm not throwing good toys away, but at the same time, all my legends are they're in like a cardboard box. Like they're all like in one cardboard box, and but it's just that's just me.
Oh,
I get it.
storing my stuff. If people knew how I store half of the stuff, they'd probably be like screaming.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's toys at the end of the day. Like, granted, I spent a lot of money on some of this stuff, but like, I really can't take it that seriously, because
No,
then
what's toys?
it gets to the point where it's not fun.
That's just it, man. Is I don't want to ever reach the point you look at guys that have. Don't get me wrong, I get it. You got a '64 Aston Martin, and that's a beautiful car. But you can't do anything with it because you're so afraid.
Right,
And what is a car you can't drive? In my opinion, a car you can't drive is useless.
dude.
That's all the money in the world doesn't add up to enjoyment. Money is to buy enjoyment. It is to buy pleasure. At the end of all of this, when we go and meet whoever we meet, whenever we've made our journey, that car isn't going with you.
Well,
That car is
it's
going to stay on.
as a car enthusiast, I can agree. I used to drive me insane when I meet a guy who had a twin turbo Supra, and
Oh
he's
God,
like, I keep it in the garage, keep the miles down. I'm like, you for
that's
real?
silly. Oh my
That
God,
doesn't make any sense.
that's
Or the
silly.
one guy, and it's funny you mentioned Aston Martin. I knew a guy that had Aston Martin, same thing, to keep the mileage down. I'm like, It doesn't make sense to me to invest all that money. And so they look at it as an investment because one day they'll sell it. And I'm like, when's that one day? What if you die? Or what if your house burns down and takes the car with it? So you're not even enjoying it. Same thing with
No,
some figures. I'm like, enjoy the thing, man. Take it out of the box. Or just,
I
don't
will
take it
take
seriously.
I will take a little rust and a ding here or there, and but if I get to go out and I get to go rip in it, well then it's a car to me. It's
There you
enjoyment
go.
to me. Like it's got to be able to fire up and rip, and that's the idea to me. I would, and that's how my toys are. Like I don't, I sold my PX Punisher finally because I just was like, "Ah, I gotta get rid of this before something happens to it.
But you
And
still-
but like it was like it was almost like it was too valuable for me to enjoy. Like
Oh,
it had all this weight attached to it. Like now that you see a price on it, and you're like, oh wow, the PH Punisher's up to $700, or the and it's like I can't like stand having like oh, am I ruining it? And you started getting into that thought process. Like, wait, did I buy this to play with it, or did I buy it like I didn't know it was going to go up like that? I had no idea. So I bought this to play with it, but now I don't feel right playing with it. That's not cool to me. To me, that's not like a cool feeling, like that conflict of
I've
whether or
got
not I should play with my toys.
I've gotten that same conversation in the community from other people, and like, um, I think there was a misunderstanding. I wasn't taking pictures of my hot toy Star Boost Iron Man because I got lazy replacing the batteries. That was the only
Yeah,
reason why I didn't take any shots. But otherwise, man, I mean, I had that thing out the box all the time. I had Andre posing it, playing with it, and doing all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's a hot toy, but like, what,
dude. Right
what?
now, my pink skulls are on my work table, like literally holding tools. You know what I mean? Like they're my pink skulls are all sitting on my work where I'm working on the next vehicle or whatever, and they're laying right next to like the sanding block, just because that's where they belong. That's where they belong to me.
Exactly. This is my creative space. I'm gonna have these figures sprawled out everywhere.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Like my basement's just on one side of the basement is where things are constructed. On the other side of the basement is where things are photographed, and like there's like a very thin line in between. Where it's like, wait, is this a collection or is this tools? It's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of both.
Well,
It's
so
kind of just both.
when and you got that whole, I mean, you do customizing and all kinds of amazing things, and I mean, you're at the point now where you're basically like revolutionizing ideas because I've seen some of the stuff you make. It's bananas, yo. Like I'm always shocked, and I just wanted to know. I mean, whether it's you creating or lining up a shot. I mean, how long does it take? What's the process for you?
All right. Well, a shot, like a photograph, is usually I take a long time. So that's why I don't post very frequently anymore, because I have found that to draw satisfaction from it, I can't force it. I have to go through my whole thing, and usually, so it's usually I start like later, like I take care of the kids all day, and then like by the time everything winds down and I can get any opportunity, it's usually around 9 o'clock. It's like 9 o'clock I go down, like I futz around a little bit, and then I work my way into it, and then I'll usually set up and shoot a couple of shots, and then go to bed and let the setup stay up.
Oh, nice.
And then the next day, because I have a big drafting table, so I can leave it up. The basement's fine, so I can leave anything up for as long as it's not bothering anybody. It's not in anybody's way. It's not. So that's nice. That's a luxury. And I will a lot of times. I mean, sometimes you snap a shot and right away you kind of like when you very infrequently. But sometimes you do. You grab something and you're like, oh, I like that. I can work with that. Let me tweak it a little bit here and there. And most of the time, I kind of work my way in. It starts as that's why I post a lot of B-sides, is because I
Right.
start with one setup, and then with all the small detail things I tweak. I just get little bit, change it a little bit, change move them like a little bit, and then I'll shoot that, and then I'll leave it up, and the next night I'll go back to it, and that's usually when I get my shot. Is the next night after, when it and that's then the editing usually takes a little, it takes about a half an hour, 45 minutes usually for me to edit,
I love
and
Yeah, nothing against B-sides. You can post B-sides all day. I'm cool with it because I do that too.
Yeah, well, I don't want to throw them away because I usually have two versions of something of the same idea. I'll almost always have two versions of it just because I start with one and then I think of something in the middle of me. I notice something and I change it and I'm like, ooh, we're gonna move that over there, and then I'll have the first version and the second version, and that's why I post. Most of the time there's almost always two versions of something.
Well,
So it's usually like a night and a half,
okay.
like a night and a half for me to get something that I'm happy with. When it comes to building shit, I mean, there's no who knows. There's some stuff that like I usually have 3 to 4 projects working at a time because I'll hit a wall on one and then I'll slide to the next one so that I can keep moving, and then working on that next one is what gets me over the hump for the last one, so I can slide back to that one. Like I can show you in my basement. I have 2 bookcases, and the bookcases have 4 slots each, and each one is a project. So it's like
Wow.
8 projects in these cubby holes. And when I say projects, like some of them are in progress, like built to the point. Some of them are almost finished. Some of them are literally just parts, like the Dondada speeder. I was supposed to do a speeder bike. That wasn't even supposed to be what it is. It was supposed to be, like a scout trooper sort of thing, but like bigger and cooler and more like personalized. And as I was trying to find the right frequency, the thing that I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then all of a sudden I saw this, the Mach 6, and I was like, ooh, and then wait a second. And then bang, all the parts that I had for the speeder bike, because that's what I do. I shuffle parts away. I have containers, and
Right.
I'll write whatever the name is on the container. It'll be like, the speeder bike or the gold tooth touch, and everything has a name, by the way, which is corny, but it helps me.
Oh,
Um,
that's
and then and then I will, as I'm going through things like swap meets or I mean, this is gonna sound, I guess, embarrassing. I trash pick, bro. I don't have a problem doing it. Uh, like if you got like if I see like a toy out in your like I'm driving around and I see a toy out in your trash and I think I can use it, I'll take it. I'll go home, I'll hose it off and I'll bleach it up, I'll take it down the basement and I'll start chopping it up. Like I don't have a problem. One man's trash is the way I always, like almost everything that I've built has started as like either a junk lot on eBay or something that where it was like, okay, well, here's this husk of something, and what can I make this husk into? And my neighbors all know, like my neighbors bring me their stuff. They're like they're like, do you want this? Do you want this container? Yes, I did. And it just, things go through. So sometimes projects, like when it comes to the customizing, they can be a week or they can be 6 months.
yeah.
Depending on how they shake out and what walls I hit, because I don't ever build from a formula.
Right.
Like I don't ever start with something and know there's no like, oh, this is what it's going to be. I start with sort of like a rough sketch in my
Right.
head, and
Right.
then that idea, it blossoms and it changes as I get the actual tangible parts in my hand.
What you just described, especially earlier with the multiple bookshelves, that was me growing up. I had multiple sketchbooks
Yep.
because I would start one drawing and I'm like, oh man, this would be better or a cooler idea if I tried this.
Yep.
And if I put in a different track I was listening to, a different song, that would change it all up. And dude, I'd go through whole sketchbooks with unfinished projects because I was like always finding something else. And I'd actually go back to those old sketchbooks for ideas, or I'd have a
Yep.
day reminiscing. I'm sure you had this, right? You're going through parts and just for fun, cleaning up your area. Like, man, I can't believe I had these parts. I had that issue
Mhm.
when I'd go back and look through those sketchbooks. I'm like, I did try to draw that before. I just stopped. Now I have a
Yep.
baseline for something else. So that's kind of a cool thing that you have it right there in front of you. I was gonna say, having gone through this journey where you evolved from being a toy photographer into a toy customizer or fabricator at this point. Do you have any wins or regrets?
I mean, it's I don't. I mean, I've taken a bunch of losses. There's a one he shall remain nameless because he didn't ever want his name out when I was building it for him. But I attempted a project for somebody and it didn't work out, and I still feel bad about it. It's not like I didn't. There was no like money issues or anything like that. We're still friends. It's still cool. But like I've definitely taken my licks where I've been off more than I could chew, and sort of have had to go back with my tail between my legs and it involved, man. I was trying to make a fiberglass hull for this and I couldn't get the fiberglass to take. And it's just embarrassing to to go to somebody who you told you to get this project done. I full disclosure, I told him right from the jump. I was like, look, I've never done anything like this. So I mean, the Chevy pickup I'm doing right now, I'm trying to get done. This is it's a first. I've never started with an RC body before. So, like looking up, like he wanted he wanted a Chevy pickup in 112 scale. They don't exist. Like the actual truck itself. Like if you wanted to go buy one, you can't. They don't exist. There's no such thing as a 12 scale Chevy pickup. They just don't exist. So in or trying to get that done, I think there might be like a Franklin Mint one for $600. So like going through the process of trying to get this truck done has been an absolute nightmare. But the truth is that nightmare it's taught me. So there's no regret. It's taught me, on the next one, on the, if you attempt this, like anybody that's been asking about RC body stuff right now, I'm not taking it because I'm not ready to. I need to have once this one's done, then maybe I'll take another one. But until this one is completed and I'm happy with it, like it's just there's been so much work. Like I cut my own aluminum frame. So like I worked the aluminum frame as a one-off piece made out of diamond plate. I built my own roll cage. I stole the steering rack off of an RC toy. I've had just finding tires has been an absolute nightmare. Like just find 112 drag slicks. Try. It's not easy. It's not easy.
So it's not like you're finding limitations. It's more like you're finding a way to stretch your abilities too, because you're running into these. It's more like hurdles. It's not really some brick wall. You just find
Right.
yourself saying, "Okay, I gotta modify this." That's no different than when you're setting up a toy shop too.
No, no,
Yourself,
you just find a way.
yeah, you do, and it's amazing that you're identifying that in the process and still rolling with it and knowing when it is just time to walk away. I think we all
Mhm.
have that. We all go through it, especially as toy photographers, but people in general, man. But especially focusing on this community and this hobby, we all have that where we were trying to dial in that shot and we just say, you know what, I spent too much time. I am now not enjoying this. I gotta walk away. And
I know when to. Know when
that's
to.
yeah, knowing when to is the challenge now. And
Mhm.
it took me to a point where I was like, man, I should not have I should not be feeling negative in any way. This should be a happy
No,
past for me because it's a hobby. If I find myself too involved to where I feeling it's affecting my emotions, I need to walk away. I got to step away. And that's why I found myself in a lot of things. I was just overthinking too many stuff, and as an artist, you overthink. And you
yeah,
find yourself saying, man, what can I have done differently? I really want to nail that. My issue I run into is time constraints, and I do it to myself. I like to be available for my family. I'm a husband and a father, and so I like to
first.
be present in my family's life. And I think a lot of it stems from my childhood, and it's not taking shots at my parents. I just know that my parents had to do what they had to do so we all could survive.
Hmm.
And my mom worked 2 to 3 jobs on average, and my father was in the Air Force. So my mom, when she wasn't working, she was cleaning and cooking and taking care of my brother and I. And my father was working the crazy hours because it's the military, and sometimes they would require him to leave in the middle of the night to go work on an aircraft windshield. I mean, he was in aircraft maintenance, so I didn't see him a lot. A lot of times growing up. But I find myself subconsciously saying I want to be available for my son and for my wife. And
Yeah.
even though we both work at the same job, we still find a way with our shifts to make it work that we are available for our son and each other. And it's
Well,
been a challenge, but we're working on that. But I do find myself saying, okay, this hobby, if I want to enjoy it, I need to then time manage better for myself. If I
yes,
find myself saying I only have 5 minutes to dial the shot in because I got to go cook, I got to go help my son with homework, go play with my son, help him with his taekwondo or whatever it may be, then maybe that wasn't the day to squeeze that 5 minutes in.
you're
Maybe I should
absolutely right.
know my schedule is a little bit more alleviated to where I can at least do 15 minutes. Because I'll be quite honest, some of my best shots, which make zero sense, only took anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes to dial in and shoot and set up overall.
And
The ones
anybody,
that
any musician will tell you, anybody, it's like, it's not about the time spent. It's crazy, isn't it? Like
it's
sometimes it's just a shot in the dark.
it is, and I mean you seem to be aiming pretty high, man. I mean you've got all this work going into all the things you're fabricating and customizing and the way you're creating this amazing toy photography that you have in your gallery. What do you have plans maybe within the next 10 years, or is there somewhere you want to be in the next 10 years with what you're doing?
I have zero expectations. This is my number one saying in life. What is expectation is the enemy of enjoyment. Uh,
Love it.
I have no expectations. I am There's a situation that I am in where I am essentially, since this COVID thing started, I'm a housewife. Uh, that's my yeah my wife works. She is lucky enough to do well enough where I can stay home. And since our son is high needs, and he can't really, like, no one wants to take care of our son. Let's just put it that way. It's difficult to find, you can't get a babysitter. No one wants to deal with it. And I can't blame him. It's not the easiest thing sometimes. He can really put you through the paces, especially if you don't understand him, if you don't know his nature.
Right.
For now, so this whole everything that I'm doing is really, it's a part of me feeling like I'm doing something, because my whole life I've always done jobs. I'm a construction guy. I'm a house guy. I have always had physical objects that I could say I built that. I was the guy that did this. This, see your fireplace? I did that. So I found myself very depressed when COVID first started and I couldn't work anymore. When this whole, I got very down, and I think that what this whole thing stemmed from is just me needing that sense of something, of creating, or having a tangible object that I could say, hey, I did that. And that's, like, as far as, like, do I have plans on this ever becoming any more than what it is? I don't have plans. I have, of course, you'd always want to be, you would like people to be like, hey, that's great. Let's try this, or to bring a project to you and say, hey, can you do this? Like, of course, that would be wonderful. It would be amazing to be able to move this into something more permanent, or a job, or a, but then you also have to be careful of whether or not you're going to enjoy it when it's a job. There's a line, like if it becomes something that you have to do you still enjoy it the same? I don't know. Um, but for right now, all I'm doing is basically entertaining myself. It's a matter of trying to, like, make cool stuff for people, make them happy, make cool stuff for myself, and just sort of do. There's no expectation comes with any of it. I do it, and it's the same thing with the photos. Like, I had to force myself to enjoy it, to stop caring about likes. I don't do stuff that really has broad-based appeal. I understand this. Like, it's going to appeal to a certain segment. It's niche at best. It's not Miles Morales, and I'm not talking shit, by the way. This is not me saying anything negative. I understand there's mainstream, there's stuff that has broad-based appeal, and that is very important. It's just as important as anything else.
Right.
It's not me poo-pooing anything or saying, like, oh, that's mainstream, or I'm no, that's good. It's just not what I am. It's not who I am. So I can't force myself. If I try to do stuff that is what you would say is like in like the hits, the toy photography top 40 is like, I always equate it to like pop music. Like toy photography has its pop music,
Yeah.
it has its top 40, and
Yeah.
those guys are there. They're doing what they're doing, and they're knocking out of the park, and they're doing, they're hitting those frequencies, and it's instantly recognizable, and it's a catchy tune. That's that pop music. I'm more of like an indie guy, you know, 8 dudes that know about it, and they all really like
Yeah.
it. like it's
That's the way to be quite honest, as an artist, is having that strong foundation of knowing that you're happy with who you are and your abilities and what you're creating. And I saw that evolution kind of skyrocket with you once you had gotten your new camera too. What's you got a Canon, right? A new Canon you had got
Yeah,
like a few months
I got
back?
an RP, the EOS RP. I got there was a killer deal on it at one point, and it's just it's by like leaps and bounds the cheapest full frame on the market. Like it's like $1,000 cheaper than the next full frame.
It is.
I just I had the money at the time, and I was using a T6, and the truth is that I was at this point where I didn't know if I didn't know if I had any more in me. I was at a point where I thought maybe I had run out of talent, to be perfectly honest. I did. I was at a stage where I couldn't reconcile, like, and this was also, I was still struggling. I was still struggling with the whole, hearts. Like, why don't I get as many hearts as other people? And the truth is a lot of that is also social. I'm not social, and I don't do the social so much and it's, and that's other people's thing. They do that. I can't. It's just not me. That goes into the whole sensory thing. I am very guarded with how I put myself out there. But with the camera, I was afraid that I had run out of talent, and it's always they say a poor carpenter that blames his tools. The carpenter, you don't blame the hammer if the house is broken. It's not the hammer's fault. It's you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had reached the EOS definitely showed me that T6 had its limitations, and I wasn't able to necessarily reach where I wanted to reach with that equipment.
I love the way you had put that too, because I found myself in so many situations in that same regard. I had a old Canon XSI, man. I'm talking about from 2008, and that's what I started shooting with when I first started in the hobby, was that. And then about a few months in, I said, "All right, man, I'm really getting tired of this noise and pixelation that's showing up in my images. How do I clean this up? Because I don't have Photoshop, I don't have true editing
Right.
software or apps. What can I do?" And I found a really cheap deal on a Canon EOS M2, like ridiculously cheap, and just had more megapixels than my camera had.
Yeah,
I did,
absolutely.
and I didn't do the research like I should have done, because it's not the best camera for photography. It really isn't.
Right.
But I got it for stupid cheap that it just
You
made
can.
sense. For what I was trying to achieve, this suffices for now. And really, that is what the artist does with the tools. And I'm finding ways around it to still make my images come out the way I want them to come out. I'm not really struggling so much as I was. I actually found out that my true struggle was lighting, and it never really was the camera itself. And
Yeah.
once I got better understanding lighting, I really found ways to take photos with this EOS M2 ways that I thought I couldn't before. And
Yeah.
then
Find a way.
was that?
You find a way. You use your skill. I mean, in some ways, using inferior equipment is a great way to get good.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I've always been like that. We do less, do more with less. I was kind of raised
Exactly.
like, being that my father was military, and then both my parents
Hmm.
came up, rough. My mom impoverished, and then through life getting jobs where it was military, former military, current managers that wouldn't ask for new tools or new equipment or new things we
Hmm.
needed, having to work with less to do more became natural for me. So I'm still using that Canon EOS M2 to do what I'm doing right now, and I'm sure one
And they
day
look
that.
great.
Well, thank you, man, and
They do. They look great. That's the thing is that you can look at your stuff and look at my stuff. You can't tell that I have a way more expensive camera than you. You can't. I can't see the difference personally.
I can't.
Like to
I
me, your stuff looks your stuff looks exactly as good. Like and it's style. You know, what I mean, a lot of it has to do with if you know your style, you know how to use your equipment, then you can create the images that you want to create.
no,
Uh,
it's true.
you do a wonderful job with it, and that's the thing that everybody needs to know is that there's no reason to let equipment be a barrier to you. If you
So
have something that takes pictures, take pictures.
yeah, that is so true, and you don't want that to be your crutch either. And the way you kind of worded that made me, how would you say what is it that our toy photography community or us as a community as a whole would need to focus on?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is honestly is and it's how do you tell a whole culture is like stop being worried about your response.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
Stop being worried so much about how people respond to it because you're tunneling yourself. You're putting yourself into a hole like a tunnel vision where like you're seeking. I mean, you also have to decide. No, not everybody does it for the same reasons that I do. Some people do it because they want a response. That's what matters most to them. And I'm not saying that's wrong.
That's
That's that's what you do. That's how you think about it. You want to make things that people say that they like. You want to make things that and like other people are wired differently. Me personally, ultimately, the only thing that really matters to me is that it satisfies whatever I was looking for. It's a
yes.
quest.
Yup.
It's a quest. It's a trip into like I don't take pictures of I take pictures of emotion. It's how I'm feeling. Like it's something I'm going through. That's what my photographs are. Whereas some guys they're taking pictures of what they like.
Right,
Some people are taking pictures of what they aspire to.
right.
Everybody has their own motivations, but I think one of the biggest things is find your motivation. Don't let other people tell you what your motivation is. And
That's
just because something doesn't get a response the first time, the second time, the 10th time, it doesn't mean that it will never get a response. Improve it, stay with it. Don't shoot other stuff, sure. But if you have an idea and you love it and it's dear to you, don't shy away from it because no one put a little heart on it. Stay with your idea. Love your idea. If you loved your idea in the beginning, continue to love your idea. Not just because other people don't get it. New is not good for people. People do not like new. New needs friends. That's a line from Ratatouille, from a Disney movie, where
yep.
he's he says new is not good. New needs friends, and new needs friends. It does. It needs if you're going to introduce an unfriend. People do not like the unfamiliar. So a general, even if it's brilliant, actually, especially if it's brilliant, you're going to maybe have zero response because they don't know how to take it. They don't know what it is yet. No one, a lot of society needs someone else to say it's cool so you can't get called out. Like, I don't want to be the first one to say it's cool because if I say it's cool and this guy says it sucks, well, I'm going to feel stupid. Well, I've never had that problem. Like I said, misunderstood a lot. Like, so like if I think something's cool, I don't have a problem telling you I think it's cool. And then if you're like, well, I think it sucks, I'm like, well, you're entitled to your opinion, but I still think it's cool. Um,
Yeah.
and so just go ahead and shoot the stuff that if you want to shoot for response, but if you have that idea, in your heart of hearts, deep down inside of you that it means something to you, don't abandon it just because people didn't love it, that they didn't immediately jump to it, because it's not very common for anyone to immediately jump something new. Like you're fighting the status quo. You're automatically you're disruptive just by putting something new in the wheel. So it's not going to immediately jump, but the world might come your way if you
Yeah.
keep improving it and perfecting it and pushing it to what you want it to be. And at the very least, even if the world doesn't come your way, you'll tickle your insides.
Yeah.
You'll satisfy that thing that that first that kernel where it first came from. Pursue it. Response is great. Everyone loves to have people love things. It's like I'm not gonna pretend that I don't enjoy when people enjoy my stuff. I love it. I really enjoy when people are like, oh, that's cool. I like that. Hey, I've never seen something like that before. Whoa, that feels good to me. It does. I get a huge buzz from that. But it is not what defines why or when I do something. It what I do that I let myself define that.
And it's so good how you had put that too, man. I think we do tend to be really hard on ourselves as artists. And even for the people that don't consider themselves artists and they're just doing this for having a far reaching account, because
Mhm.
I mean, quite frankly, COVID changed everything in so many ways that a lot of people now are creating jobs on Instagram. And
Mhm.
if it's reach with likes attached to it, that may be a paycheck for them or endorsement
For sure.
or advertising or for whatever it may be. But it's a new opportunity somewhere. But I mean,
Yes.
how we treat ourselves through the process is very important. And it's like how I was saying earlier on. I mean, I've been on this big, strong mission to just spread love and show love and appreciation to people the best way possible that I can. I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect, but
No one's perfect, man. You're doing great.
nobody is, man. And for me, it's about progression in the right direction, and that's all I'm trying to do. And
Bro, you're like my ray of light.
I'm trying to be a real life for everyone, man, especially for myself. Trying to learn to
It's a
love
cool thing.
myself too. It really is, and
And
you know,
you can't love other people unless you learn to love yourself a little bit.
well, and we can all do that. We can all learn something from that. And I mean, how would you think would be a better way for us in the community, to treat each other? What would you think? Like, how can we be better humans?
I mean, I don't know if that's even my place to say is the truth, but I think that basically all I was saying was is inspiration is out there. We all get inspired by other people, and it should be a little bit more comfortable to say I was inspired by this person inspires me, and then have people share who they're influenced by instead of pretending that they're all beautiful and unique snowflakes and they all produce these ideas. Like, it's not a mystery. Like, you're all feeding off of one another, so talk about it, be friendly. Say where you get your ideas, say where it's always like this magical story of I just come up with all these ideas by myself.
And
And,
and to be quite honest, man, praise is a good thing. I think a lot of people get that confused with coming off arrogant or high and mighty or better than the next person because you accept praise. But praise is important, man. I think praise is good, and it's good to be to praise others. That's how you lift others up, and build a positive community.
you so dot 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 like it's one of those things that like it's always nice to know that someone spent that extra second looking at it. It's not disposable. Like, it's instead of just flick, oh, heart, dope, flick, dope, flick, dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind. It's like I would, like, if you're just gonna, like, you're just gonna pop on and go, hey, dope. Like, I don't see, like, it's cool. I appreciate you doing that. I'm not gonna, but it doesn't feel, and I think that's why, like, on my page, like it's not, there's not a lot, like, I don't have a lot of that social interaction. So, like, when people do chime in and they say, like, hey, it feels genuine. It doesn't feel like you're just checking a box. That's one of my, that's like a life ethos. I say something, if it's going to come from a place of real. It's going to come from, that's how I really felt. I'm not just checking my box so that you'll check my box too. Like, I'm gonna say, like, oh shit, that shit knocked my socks off, because that's what it did.
Right.
It's what it did. It's why, if you that I can just comment back. It's not a pre-programmed response. It's because that's what I felt when I looked at the post. That's what it popped into my head, and that's what it. And I just, sometimes I think there's a lot of box checking. Yes, hey, yes, ho ho, yes, and it just I don't think that does anybody any good. It doesn't help you grow. It doesn't really. After a while, it feels empty. Like, does it really feel like 10,000 dopes? Does it really feel that good?
Well, I
Just
mean,
one
and
person going, "Oh man, your background lighting, the way the cool light and the warm light meet right over the center of his head, that's what blows that's what makes me all tickled. When someone notices a detail, like an actual, like, that's what means something. Just that's what I like. I like when things mean things, when it has meaning.
well, then, and that's a great thing to kind of present, like anybody, especially if there's someone listening new to this podcast that just discovered it, anyone out there that's new to the community, like, this is, in this community, it's one of those things where we are imperfect people. You
Mm-hmm.
should really change your expectations because nobody's perfect. And that's kind of,
No.
my question to you is, I mean, what would be your tips for anybody new coming on board, anyone new listening right now or new to the hobby, and they just discovered your account and they're like, wow, I want to try this. What tips do you have or suggestions you have for them?
If you like, the most important thing I think is to not worry about what other people think of it so much as to educate yourself. That's the biggest thing. Is don't let the community or don't let that define who you are. If you want to do this, do it for you first. Start with you, and to not and also, the most important thing I think is you can't understand something and do it well without it. Educate yourself. If you feel like your photos are, everybody, I think, on the inside, when you're like, yeah, and when you feel that, like, it's not because you can't do whatever it is. It's because you just need that next level. You need to go find, if you like the lighting on another guy's stuff and he's not, and maybe you DMing him and he doesn't, respond to you, which is pretty normal. And don't take it personal. Don't take any of this
Right.
personal, number one. That's the first thing. Don't take
Right.
any of it personal, because
Yeah.
if you think that you don't have any value because this person won't respond to you, that is the exact opposite of the truth. That person doesn't define who you are. You define who you are.
Exactly.
So
So
that
good.
response to you, if you don't like that you're not getting a response, then change what you're doing.
Seriously.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't engineer a response. I mean, you absolutely can engineer a response, but I just don't think it's healthy to engineer a response. I think that if you really want to grow as an artist, as a person, an entity that does things, and you eventually, if you want to, be your own thing, then educate yourself. Go buy a book on lighting. Or, I mean, nobody buys books anymore. It just showed my age so bad. But like
YouTuber.
yeah, right. But seriously, like, there's so many videos out there, and you also have to remember that none of these videos, none of these people, they're not handing you all the keys to the kingdom.
Nope.
They're giving you a certain select set of details, and from there you have to expand on that on your own. Style is style, and it comes from you. It comes from who you are. Bring yourself into what you do. That's the biggest thing I can say, is bring who you are to what you do. And if you do that and you do it with honesty, I really feel like no matter what, you'll at least find your peer group that's into what you do, and you'll enjoy that.
That's so perfect, man. And I loved how you tied that up perfectly, because it is true. I mean, we enter situations sometimes with this predisposition or something that's tied to our personal experience, or something that happens somewhere. It's important that when you go into something new, you might want to just not have those expectations and
Mm-hmm.
set those experiences to the side. And again, we're all human. We all have
Mm-hmm.
pitfalls. Things happen. But I think, anyone coming into this hobby should really have zero expectations
Zero.
except have fun. That's it.
Exactly.
I think if there's any expectations they should have, is have fun and then learn and grow, because there's a ton of people on here with amazing behind the scenes in their slides and in their stories and in their galleries that can help teach you so much that you will not learn in a YouTube video. And I mean, that's just being, I probably learned so much more in my own hard work before
Failing.
there was other that and then discovering there's other artists in this community that are giving you freebies by listing the camera, the lighting, what they're using, what kind of media they use, how they're post editing it. I mean, it's really something amazing. So I mean, you tied it up perfectly, and it's true. I mean, just come in and really enjoy the process, because ultimately you gotta find somebody in your peer group that's gonna have that same common affinity for what it is that you're into, and then you're gonna end up sparking a friendship, on accident, and it ends up being something beautiful overall.
That's just it, man. Like you, Scott, like I honestly, like, you're two people that I genuinely look forward to talking to, and without toy photography, I wouldn't know you. And that's something that no matter how many hearts I get, no matter whatever the response to my stuff is, I have friends, real friends that I met through doing what I'm doing, and you can't trade that for the world. Like genuine people, people that are down for you, people that will listen to you whine, people that will tell you that you are whining and put you into perspective every once in a while. Like, real friends tell you the truth. That's my opinion. But and it just, that's what you're looking for, because at the end of all of this, man, it's life is about the people around you. It's not about your stuff. It's not about your fame. It's not about it's about the people around you. And if you got good people around you, you're winning. No matter how many likes you got, you're winning.
Damn, that's perfect. If I'm gonna find a point I want to end it, it's right there. And thank you.
All right, man. Thank you, bro. It was awesome. Thank you for having me. I probably rambled on about who knows. We barely talked about toys. We were all over the damn place, but it was stimulating.
Well, and before we end this, and if everybody's listening, like, this episode right here, like, it's close to me, because this is one of the main things why I really signed up and said yes to Dakota and being co-host with this, because it's not just about the toys, man. It's the people involved, and we live we live in a time where we really need to just accept the fact that we humans, man, and to have to be in a place where you have the opportunity to, like, really connect with someone and feel love and positivity is important. And I mean, all the information you divulge from and being really transparent is something that this community needs. And so I thank you for your time. I thank you for everything.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, same. Likewise, man. To finally hear your voice was pretty awesome. If there's if anybody wants to get a hold of you, I mean, where can they reach you or find you?
Desultory Toys, at Desultory Toys on Instagram, and that's about it, man. Other than that, I'm not gonna give out my phone number. But at Desultory Toys, and please understand that I don't. It's not like I let my request stack up or anything, but if you send me a message and then 2 days later I get back to you, it's not because I'm a dick. I'm just aloof. Sometimes I really don't pay attention, and that's my problem. It's not that, like, I'm trying to be cool, or I don't want to talk to you, or I don't, like, I'm very friendly, actually. I'm actually a very friendly dude, and if you have questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them, honestly. I don't have a problem answering questions for folks. It just might take me a day or two, because I'll look at it and I'm like, "Ooh, I better hit that," and then I don't, and then it takes me, and then a day later I'm like, "Ooh, it's part of the whole desultory thing." Desultory means to wander around. Desultory essentially means a bunch of motion for nothing, and that's me sometimes. so
anybody listen, take note. I think the entire community can agree. We are not bots. We're actual people. So if we don't respond to a DM or email right away, it's because we have a life outside of here.
Yes, exactly. That's it. And I try to prioritize my life outside on Instagram first. And Instagram is a pleasure place for me. It's a place where I go to enjoy something. So, if I miss it, it's not because I'm like, oh, F that. It's not, I'm not too cool. Trust me, I'm not cool. I'm not a cool dude. I'm awkward and strange, but it just is what it is. But thank you so much, man.
Well, thank you. And if everybody listen, you can find me at Inspired by Andre and at Toyphotocast. And thank
Tell
you
them
all
again.
for listening. And thank you again, Jesse. And just remember, everybody, we are storytellers.
That's right.
See you later, man.
Peace out, bro. Later.